Welcome back to Gamify This, the podcast game show featuring the artist, Samuel, the gamer, Sean, the nerd, Puzzle. Join us as we compete to come up with the best gamified solutions to our daily experiences in Gamify This. Welcome to episode 11 of Gamify This. I'm Puzzle, this is Sean and Samuel, and you have been greeted back to the podcast Gamify This.
Oh yeah.
I won the last episode, so I'm hosting this episode.
He won with dishonor.
I won with dishonor. I don't remember why I won with... What was dishonorable about my win, Sean? You hosted last episode. Please explain. It was the episode about fighting your demons.
Yeah, you didn't really come up with a game.
I feel like it was... I honestly didn't feel like I should have won.
I didn't.
But you
either.
also didn't feel like I should have won. You kind of tore my game apart. Mine was like a really good story, and yours was a really good thought.
Mine was more of an allegory than a...
Mine was an
applicable
allegory.
game.
I based mine on the Pilgrim's Progress.
Yours was... yes, but yours was more applicable, and mine was more complaining.
Well, I think to do mine, you would have to become a stuffed animal, or just imagine these different... Well, that is part of the point of...
That is part of gamifying.
Okay, so...
change what you're looking at and think about it as something else.
Okay, I remember what happened. Samuel went too long, and that really
cut
hurt
into my
his-
points.
Yeah,
Okay.
that really hurt him later on because points
I stayed on
and
track,
negative
though.
points compound. You did.
I tried to make sure you always knew what I was talking about, but if you drifted off, I mean, you knew what it takes to drift off for you as the one judging. I just realized I probably shaved most of my mustache off this evening. It looks like I only have half a mustache.
I noticed that, but I didn't want to bring it up. So
Well,
anyway,
because then I
Sean,
could shove the other one out.
Sean, in episode 9, which is the most recent one that's gone up in our time period, you mentioned that you had a gamified approach to school. How's that been going for you? Are you still keeping up with it? Have you done any
Nope.
patch, bug updates, anything like that? Well, you didn't even let me finish my question.
It
You've not
wasn't a
been
real
doing it?
question.
I've nope. I just, yeah.
Okay, so you've just kind of been pulling yourself through school and not looking at it in a different perspective.
Yeah, although I did finish a history paper, and that felt really satisfying because
That's good.
I did it the day before, but it was my first draft, and it was actually really good, and I stayed up working on it till 10. But I finished it, and it felt nice to do something productive on time.
Mm-hmm.
So that for you, for me, it didn't make any sense, but for you, did it help?
Yes.
Wait, was it timely? What you did you do it timely?
I completed a research paper on time.
What did it take to complete it? Was that different than your usual way of doing it?
My usual way of doing it is like putting it off till next week.
You just stayed
Yeah.
focused and determined this time.
That's definitely better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That
And
is
you feel
good.
like you had a good start, which
With
means you're gonna
encouragement from
procrastinate
my
working
mom.
on it.
It both is difficult for us, and it feels so much better for us when we can stay on task and stay focused and get
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
done in the same time frame.
Time. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's enough from you, Sean. I'm glad that life's been going well. I expect you to gamify more so that next week you can report
you
back
didn't
with
really
more
get-
gamified.
Okay.
Solutions.
Yeah. Samuel, how about you? We had a little bit of a talk before we started recording, and things are kind of stressing you out right now, so hopefully that doesn't bleed into the episode, but
Don't be stressed, Samuel.
you've made progress at least starting your new resume, right? Like, compared to last week and this week, you've at least gotten that started,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's like there's just a little bit that I could add on there, and I'm trying to figure out what I should focus my resume towards, because I'm trying to figure out what kind of a job or opportunities I want to open myself up to, because it is like a full resume. Almost anything that you could want to see is on there.
Being too much of a wild card might be brushed aside rather than having a focused
Well,
resume.
the things
Is
that look
your
like
thought?
real job stuff, though, like real job skills and
I didn't
things.
know
like,
my PJ shorts could make rubber noises.
Sean.
Sorry.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out what it's time for right now, because I could move up and see what that's like, but I like a change of scenery. Every move they make to move me up in my job, like from senior retail associate to manager, is a educational opportunity for me. But there's a whole lot of, you need to pay attention to everything I'm doing from my boss. It's like, you need to pay attention to everything I'm doing because you're going to have to be able to do all this. I mean, just kind of going like, this is valuable stuff for me to learn.
But I don't want to stay here very long. And that's what
Because
keep forgetting to say.
it improves how I do as a cartoonist, and as like, it's going to take a lot of aggression and stuff, but there's not really any opportunities down there. Like, you'd have to search even harder down, like much harder down there, to find cartooning opportunities from a few people who might or might not pay you. Up here, there's a big emphasis on the arts, and if I have to stay in Tulsa, I might as well be in the part of Tulsa where art is happening. Like, it just makes sense, because I really take myself seriously, if in anything, as an artist. And so looking for more opportunities and stuff where we can do that. I just pay attention to the way that we do things at work and like what kind of focus and stuff my boss has, and I try to apply that to my cartooning career. So like, if it's really important that we take every call that comes in and talk to every customer that comes in and sell something to everybody who comes in, maybe every time that there's a potential possibility for me making a cartooning job, that I get my foot in the door quickly, and that I upsell it, and that I make as much money out of that opportunity as I can. Doing my best work there, because that's what I want to do. That's ideally where I'd like to go in life, and that's been my focus from the beginning.
Okay, well, Sean and Samuel, there's been a consistent theme of what you've been talking about this week, which is kind of good because it does have to do with my my topic for this week. And if you guys are ready, is there anything more you guys need to talk about?
I had an existential crisis. That was fun.
Today? Yeah.
No, not
about
today.
Meaning and
Not today, but
lonely. Oh.
I talked to this about you guys earlier. Talked about this to you guys on Monday, I mean.
Wow, it's been a whole week and it's still affecting you.
Uh-huh. Well, it felt
Dang.
weird.
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care. So let's move on.
Thank you.
No.
I didn't have anything else planned to say.
What was the existential crisis like?
It was really overwhelming. Like when you're in the middle of something and stuff is just happening all around you. And sometimes when I think about where I am, I go out of focus and go into like a third person view of the situation around me.
You
Yeah.
derealized.
What?
Derealization.
That's a derealization episode.
Yeah, I didn't have a word for it growing up, but I
Oh.
dealt with a lot of it.
Huh.
I used to have it every day.
I used to get it without warning on a frequent basis. It would just like be episodes.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, where you just have a
disassociation.
my
like,
only
just, like-
existence. My only existence is in my head. I don't know what this body is. I don't know what's happening. Where did I come from? What is existence?
it's like you suddenly wake
Okay.
up in the middle of someone else's life. The art crawl, one of the craziest parts of the art crawl was like we were looking for a parking space. So anyway, we found a parallel parking space, and I couldn't quite believe that it actually was a parking space for me, but Puzzle insisted it is. So I'm like, okay, there's a car right behind me. He probably wants to take it. And Puzzle's like, just pull up next to the car and back into the one behind it. Anyway, I was able to parallel park. Nothing was hit and anything. So we got out of the car, and we're like, okay, are we going to be fine then? And the moment Puzzle steps out of the car, he drops his phone in the sewer.
Dang it! You lost your phone again?
A 10-foot
cheap-
sewer.
The second, we could not, we couldn't even read it. The worst part of it, I wished this wasn't true, but we could see it. So we looked down and it's just right there. And it's like, and there's no way to get to it. But parked right in front of us was, well, you can tell this part of the story, Puzzle.
Parked right in front of us was some lovely people from Tulsa Community Services of some kind. I don't remember what services it was.
They're called Beauty Crete.
Beauty Crete. Yeah, they're a department of public works of some kind. They happened to be lugging around a bunch of equipment, and I was like, maybe they can help. But the moment it fell in the sewer, I was like, this is okay. I'll live without a phone for about a week, and I'll buy a new phone. I'm okay with this. I'm not going to be able to afford paying off my TV, but I'll have a phone. I'm going to be okay for a few days without a phone. It's in the sewer. We're not getting it. I'm not going to look at it. But once we saw the vehicle in front of us, and I was like, maybe they'll be around. They just came out of the building next to us. And I was like, maybe they can help out. And I was just kind of unloading the car of the art supplies, getting ready for our caricature booth. And I was like, maybe they'll help. I don't know. I don't feel like talking to them. Samuel walked up.
I felt responsible because I insisted on you coming to the art crawl. I'm like, we're going to get your phone out of the sewer.
Samuel walked up to one of them. I don't think any of them spoke English. They knew some English words, but they didn't speak English.
Oh, okay.
There's probably about 5 of them in total. There are probably 5 of them in total walking in and out of the building to the car. We only saw like 2 at a time.
The Spanish word and the English word for telephone are about the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Samuel kind of pointed at the sewer and was like, can you help? And so one of them walked over, looked down, and went, And as I said, there was 5 people in total, and we'd only see like 2 of them at a time. Every single one of them did that, where they look down, they look up, and just kind of go, like, man, this is a predicament. But immediately, the person that Samuel asked grabbed a long wooden pole out of their truck and got duct tape and started rolling the end of it with duct tape and then going backwards and making a sticky side. And he this is one of those sewers that has the vents slanted like this.
Yeah.
So he went in at just the right angle and pushed it down, all the way down, stuck his arm through it, and it touched the phone.
Oh my goodness.
And he pushed really hard. He was like, there's going to be one try. I heard, I don't know Spanish very well, but he was like, we're going to try this once, and if it works. He pushed really hard on it to make sure it stuck to the phone and pulled so slowly. It was like so slow, but I knew that if it went fast, it could fall further down the sewer, but he went so slowly. And once it was within arm's reach, I pulled down, got my phone out.
Nice.
Out of that sewer, and I was
Did
like...
you wash it?
Brush it off.
I washed it today.
Okay, that's good.
I didn't wash it yesterday because... Do you know how unclean your phone is on a daily basis?
Well, it's pretty bad anyway.
It's more unsanitary than the bottom of your feet.
Yeah, the blow your nose app.
Anyway, I immediately texted Jessie and was like, "You'd never guess what happened today." Dropped my phone into the sewer, and she was like, "Hang on, where is it?" I said, I dropped my phone in a sewer. They ended up using a long stick with duct tape to fish it out. And Jesse was like, what's up with dropping your phone to liquid? First the pool, then the river, then the sewer. What's next? The ocean? So
nice.
Yeah, I am going to be avoiding the ocean for the rest of my life. Because I have dropped my phone into every watery... I've even dropped my phone into a poopy toilet before.
Oh, nice. I haven't done that yet.
I'm going for the bingo.
Phone got a little dirtier.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, if you think about it, your phone...
Now I want to wash my phone.
Okay. Well, Sean and Samuel, going back a little bit, the things that you have talked about, Sean with your schooling and Samuel with your resume stuff, you've had a common theme, which is very coincidental, because the topic I want to bring this week is waiting. Gamify waiting. this episode, I'm going to bring up certain scenarios that are a lot easier because it's a very broad topic. We're gonna have 4 rounds, and each one is going to be a specific scenario. And I want you to come up with a separate game for each scenario.
Oh.
Not create a game and then mold it to the scenarios, but come up with a very specific game for those specific scenarios, because this is something that all 3 of us really struggle with, especially probably all of Gen Z, with how immediate everything is in our life. Waiting is almost not even a thing that we have to deal with anymore because of our ability to distract ourselves constantly.
Yeah.
So I want us to gamify waiting. And so we're going to have 4 rounds. And the first round, I'm going to say gamify waiting waiting at a regular doctor's office, like dentist checkup, doctor checkup.
Okay.
Just one of those regular things where you might have some anxiety building up. You might be worried about that appointment. And please don't rely too heavily on your phone being the solution. All right, are you guys about ready?
Yep.
Okay, which of you has a title? 1, 2, 3, ring the bell. All right, Samuel, let's hear it.
No place like the waiting room. The perfect game name.
That's kind of boring,
I know.
but I'll give it to you that you had one ready. All right, get started.
All right. So you are given random scenarios every time the game opens. You don't know which kind of waiting room you'll be in. You might choose which kind of doctor you're going to, whether it's a dentist, whether it's an eye doctor, whether you say it's a regular doctor's office, but this could be like a life or death situation, or maybe a not quite sure life death situation. So it could be like urgent care, but without like panic or pain. Just you're there and you're curious what's going to happen next. But the game is not focused on you thinking about what's next. The game is focused on being in the waiting room and how to be there. So there's a robot who is the receptionist in any of these doctor office scenarios. She'll just wear something different for each of them. And she's narrating at the start, "We aren't waiting to die. This moment is what it's all about." Something to that effect. Anyway, it's not about going through the door at the end of your time in the waiting room. It's what you do in the time that you're in the waiting room. So
being present.
Yep. Yeah. So depending on the waiting room, you will have something else with you. It could be a crowded waiting room where I've told you there are 3 different kinds. A crowded waiting room where there's a loud TV going on. There are a bunch of people in there, and there's a baby crying. There are people sitting near you, people you don't want to talk to, people you might want to talk to. Second option is it's you, a few other people, and a book you have. You'll either read or you'll write in a book that you're working on. Like in my case, it would usually be an educational book that I'm trying to read through, or an adventure book, or it would be a book that I'm just drawing in, like a comic book, like a comic I'm working on. The third option would be just you and your journal, or just you and your journal. You're either going to write in your journal or you're going to read past parts of your journal and try to figure out where you are in life right now. But this is a moment that exists in this space. So for the first option, it's more relationship focused, whether it's your relationship with the room you're in or building a relationship with someone else in the room, like striking up a conversation with them. If they're open to it, you can read the signs and figure out if they want to have a conversation, and just learn about them and share a little bit about yourself while you're there. What brings you here, without like prying into their private business, but what it is that you guys choose to share with each other. And it doesn't have to be about the appointment. It could just be, you have different conversation options, and you can figure out a little ways in whether the conversation is going to go well and whether this is the right person to talk to. If you manage to have a good conversation and keep the good conversation going until you're called into the other room, you've accomplished a relationship game. The second option is the progress game, where there's a book you're either working on or working through. Working on being it's a book that you're drawing in or writing in, a project you're doing, or a book you're working through, an adventure book or educational book that you're reading. And making progress in there, like, take this situation and figure out, like, there might be distractions in there, but try to figure out how much progress you can make through the book to get through it.
You only have a few seconds left, by the way.
And then the last one is reconnecting with yourself. So this is like the relationship one and it's like the book one, but it's you and a journal. And you're just writing your thoughts or you're reading past thoughts and figuring out who you are and where you are.
Nice.
Okay. I feel like there are some not fully fleshed out ideas, like the receptionist being a robot. I don't see what that had to do with anything or how that helped the situation at all.
In a video game, it's always a
imaginative.
robot.
Yeah, but that didn't help the overall setting. That seemed like a red herring. The rest of your solution didn't have anything to do with that. So that seemed like more of a distraction than a solution. Overall, pretty basic stuff. Decent. Yeah. All right, Sean, what do you have?
I have The Road.
Okay.
This game is like a road trip, and for all of you who have been on a road trip, you know that it is about the destination and the journey. And in every road trip, you usually have a vehicle, and that is what this waiting room is going to be like. Your situation is going to be your vehicle, and you have to prepare your vehicle before the road trip. So the game actually starts the day before when you are getting ready for this doctor's visit or death or pregnancy, whatever happens in the doctor's office. You have to prepare yourself mentally and physically. So physically involves getting a lot of rest and sleep and eating well, and mentally just make sure you know where you are and are aware of your inhibitors and obstacles that can bring you down. And you also have to do projects, or you don't have to do projects, but stupid phone. It can often help you if you have projects with you, and part of preparing is to bring things you want to do, and this varies depending on what you like to do. If you can go to the doctor's office and say, I enjoyed that waiting room experience, that's a good thing. That's what we're looking for. And it doesn't have to be like it was an awesome time, but if it's just a time to chill out, that's good too. It's also story-centric in the sense that since it's about the journey and the destination, you're traveling through this whole experience of being at the doctor's office. And that does change with how well you prepared, what you have with you, what kind of waiting room it is, and what kind of destination you're going to. It affects things in a similar way to how all of these things affect a road trip. If you have a family with you, that is a way different experience from if you're just traveling with a spouse or by yourself or with a friend. Those are all different dynamics and will change your prep and your situation and obstacles entirely. Enjoy driving, metaphorically. Bring activities, prepare your car, and there isn't a point system because the reward is the enjoyment you get out of it. And if you choose to, you can follow side quests, especially in self-improvement. In my game, Samuel's journal example would fall under self-improvement, which can really boost in not necessarily enjoyment, but fulfillment if you're doing something to improve yourself because you have extra time.
Fulfillment. XP,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. So that is The Road.
Okay.
I learned through doing Gamify This with you guys that XP doesn't mean a certain number of like points that you're spending to play a certain game. Whenever it says earn XP, it's talking about experience.
Yeah.
Points?
Experience points.
Which I didn't know. So I was playing all these games. I didn't know what they were talking about, like XP. I'm like, man, that's really technical for me. But
Yeah, it's something that you earn and then can spend, but it's focusing on earning it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the earning, because that brings you in another way along the journey. Like you could be going down the path, but then this is also giving you flowers. It's like going through the coloring book, but filling in more details in the coloring book. You're thinking about it as a coloring book.
Okay. Sean, you had a good, solid analogy. You didn't really have many solutions. You seem to be very focused on the frame of mind you should have, but you didn't give much to do, like physically. You gave a good mental picture,
Okay.
but you didn't really show how it would help pass time. You explained really well why it would and why you should, but you didn't really give much of a solution.
Okay.
So that might be something to take into the next round. Round 2, another specific example, waiting for a reply. This could be business, this could be personal, this could be even to yourself, to God, to the world, to philosophy. Waiting for a reply.
Wow,
and I'll give
that's
you...
extremely what I was talking about.
Yeah, I had this whole thing written out.
Wow.
So I just gave several examples. I want your solution to be able to hit all of them. I want this to be a generic solution to the specific-ish prompt. Waiting for a reply.
All right.
And you guys have 3 minutes to prepare. Time start now.
I got it.
Just give me a second. Oh, nice. Samuel.
Nice.
You get the +5 for being ready. Go ahead. Let's
All
hear
right.
it.
In this game,
Wait, do you have a title?
Yeah, the game is called Rain Check.
Okay.
In this game, you are a Borg. There are a lot of Borgs in this technical world. There's these certain kinds of robots. They basically look like people, but they're made of metal and they're more box shaped and they got antennae and stuff like that. Anyway, they're Borgs. They're the people of this world. Everything exists on kind of a mat, squares, graphs, that sort of thing. But it's a lot like our world. You are out in a field and you have a big backpack, and the backpack is being constantly filled with more things. Your name is Psy. You are Cyborg. And it's spelled SIGH because you are sad and confused and perplexed. There are different things weighing you down. And those things, they pop up and they land inside your backpack. And what you got to do is you go out to the middle of the field. You're about to have a battle. But before the battle begins, you send up some of those things from your backpack up into this big cloud. There's this big face that shows up in the cloud. He's the rain check guy. And that concept covers anything. But you upload your problem to the cloud from the backpack. It stays in the backpack, but the concept of it goes up like in a speech bubble, goes up from your backpack. And then you go on your mission. You start having to fight these robot mushrooms that are running around you. And there will be many different problems associated with the problems in your backpack. It could be different questions, such as, that girl I was talking to yesterday, was she interested in me? That other Borg. That restaurant I was at yesterday, are they looking for a hiring? Should I get a job there? Why am I called a Borg? And like, what the kind of is the factory going to stop distributing robots? Are we gonna have a robot apocalypse? Are we gonna be overthrown by rustic butterflies and all those kind of issues? Anyway, the mushrooms, the frogs, the other things representing the issues in your backpack are running around, and you're having to keep fighting them until an answer comes down in the form of a check. It's a certain amount of money, and you put the check in your backpack, and cha-ching, the problem goes back up into the cloud. And then your backpack is lighter, and you don't have to fight the mushrooms, or you don't, like, one of those problems you stop having to fight. And they have to keep fighting those other ones as it's going, and they'll keep coming, but you continue to fight them. The frogs, the badgers, they keep running around you. The snake, they keep running around you. Now, eventually, there will be this other issue called pop-up sads. They're these pathetic little bush-like things that make kind of sound, but they come in the form of answers, and you might accidentally click on one in your attempt to fight the other guys, and it'll explode and make more of them appear. So that's like a counter answer from what you were supposed to get from the cloud where you originally submitted your or uploaded your question to. And so if you accidentally click on one of the pop-up sads, your problem becomes bigger. And instead of solving the problem, you got more of the problem. But anyway, eventually several of your problems will go back up to the cloud, like in the form of answers. And some of them you'll still be fighting until the time for the battle ends. And then you go, whether you have the answers all solved or not. And that's the end of the battle for each of the levels. They'll increase in problems and types and locations and things like that. But it always begins where you offload several questions for the hope of having some of those battles minimized a bit.
Okay. Could you explain your game? Because none of it made sense, and I don't see how any of it could be a solution.
So the questions are the things in your backpack that are weighing you down. You don't get to get the things out of your backpack. They're on your back, and they represent the kind of battles you're going to be facing out in the field. You upload several questions based on the items in your backpack, and they go up into the cloud, and you have maybe a certain number of the ones. You just submit as many questions as you can before the battle begins, so several of them go up. And then you go out and you're battling all of those things. But as the battle's going, like with the mushrooms and frogs and stuff, an answer is going to come back in response to one of those questions you had. And then one of those things you're fighting is going to disappear from the battle. So for Sean, if it's a question about life, he sends the question, but he still has to battle this problem with life out on the field. He has to face it along with a whole bunch of others. And the important thing is to keep fighting, not just sitting and waiting for the answer to come, but to keep fighting with the questions, but also not just taking any answer that pops up, which come in the form of the pop-up sads, which are like little gremlin bushes that pop out of the ground for a little bit and kind of block your way in the fight, like make the fight difficult until they sink back down.
Okay. That makes more sense now.
Yeah,
I understand it better now.
It's
And
an
cloud
analogy of dealing with questions and everyday life conflicts at the same time.
And the cloud can represent a lot of things too. Like it could be a question you ask a friend. It could be the girl that you ask whether she was interested in you. It could be a text message that you sent and you're waiting for it to come through. And you have all kinds. But eventually the answer comes in the middle of the fight. One of the answers comes in the middle of the fight and makes the fight a little lighter.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. You have points now. You have points now.
And the game was called Rain Check because the checks that you get
to rain down
are coming down from the cloud.
All right, Sean, let's hear it.
All right, my game is called Pressure because whenever you send out a question, there's conflict. Immediately, right away it starts. And it can be stress, regret, existential in some way, can take your energy, or it can make you excited and happy or in love, but there's a conflict. There's something you're waiting on, and as time goes on, that pressure can mount and the conflict can get bigger. So there are 4 steps to dealing with this. You have to acknowledge the situation. This is the first level, and this can be hard because if somebody says, "Hey, do you like me?" and it takes a long time to get back, you have to acknowledge that, "Hey, I am making myself vulnerable," and you have to realize your life situation at the time and ask questions like, what's involved here? Who am I talking to? Who am I at this time? When is this happening? And how am I putting myself out there? How am I asking this question? And this can bring up some problems. Because a lot of the times we don't know why we're asking these questions. And asking these things can really help us understand what's going on. And then you have to think on the situation. Because once you've uncovered these answers to your questions about what's going on, you're just like, wait, why do I like her?
Whoa.
What? Well,
okay,
not
continue.
necessarily.
Other
Not
questions
necessarily
come
that.
up.
Other questions
right.
come up, and you start to have a battle of mental capacity and spiritual and emotional capacity, and it's hard to deal with these things, but you have to, in a way, this is the same as acknowledging the situation, but this is more acknowledging what's happening inside of you. And this is important because everybody's got something going on inside them at all times, and especially in a tense situation of whatever nature, it can become really necessary to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the third step is to become content with the situation. Once you've acknowledged what the situation is and what's happening inside of you, do what you can if there's any way to improve the situation. If you're really stressed, try and take care of your stress. But at some point, there's going to be a time where you have to be content waiting for the answer. And this comes in the form of whatever relaxes you, breathing, exercises, taking a nap, praying, doing something. But you're doing something with the focus of contenting yourself. And finally, once you've done all of this self-care and acknowledgement, now you can distract yourself. Now comes the time where worry is going to creep in. You can't do much now except forget about it for a little bit. Remember that you have a life outside of this question, and this can come in working, in playing, in hobbies, and stuff like that. The result of your health after you've done all this depends on how well you do in these levels.
Cool. So it lessens the pressure for you, even though you're waiting for those answers, like finding outlets and stuff. So
yeah,
That was really good, Sean.
Thanks.
That was really good. That was really solid. It was slightly less gamey and more advice, which is good.
conceptual.
Yeah, it was good concepts. It was good results. Maybe in the next couple rounds, focus on making it a little more like point-based, achievement-based,
It's
stuff
really-
like that to make it.
It really is a challenge in the time crunch to come up with both a good basis, something very sturdy, and a
Right.
good shell to put around it.
Right. That's
But-
true.
So
That's true. I am
many
kinda
times
doing-
I feel like we end up coming up with one or the other. I know one of our goals is to be able to do
Oh,
both
yeah, that's
in a
true.
time crunch. You
And then
can build
we
off
get-
of your previous games though for ideas,
That's true.
and we can
But
steal from each other.
That's true. We get laser focus, I feel like, because it's like, oh, I got a good idea. I got to chase this down before I forget.
Yeah, because in
And
a
it's-
time crunch, you kind of have to go with your first instinct on everything.
Yeah. Because if you don't, you don't have a game.
Yeah, I think the three concepts I had at the start of that previous one were the cyborg with the backpack, the cloud, and the name of the game being Rain Check. Oh, and some sort of pop-up ad or something. But and then as I was giving it, I had to quickly like just go with it whenever I started to say mushroom or started to say badger.
Yeah.
I'm like, or snake.
I had the same thing.
Oh, snake.
I mean, my first impression of last round was just draw 3 boxes, and then I went off of that, and I made some things from that.
So I'm covering up my ideas for the next one, but here's what I had
yeah.
for the previous ones.
Nice.
Those were good 2 first rounds. Good job, guys. There's a
We'll see
clear
how
winner.
we can wreck him.
There's a clear winner right now, but I want to give one of you the opportunity to get 15 bonus points. This is a new segment that will be in the show every episode from now on. This is episode 11, as I
Every
always know.
episode directed
So that
by
means
you.
no, everyone. This is going to be homework for you guys. we are going to have a pop quiz related to the current topic. This is a chance for you to gain an extra 10 points and might pull one of you guys
just said 15
into the
points.
lead. I meant 10 because I was looking at points over on the side. There's still going to be 2 more rounds. We've had 2 rounds. There's going to be 2 more rounds, but this is going to be an opportunity for one of you guys to get an extra 10 points and possibly pull one of you into the lead. So, audience, you can also vote in the polls. And I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to interact with the polls, and in the Q&A box, or whatever the box is, send in questions or ideas for gamified things, and in the future, we might do a pop moment here in the middle of the episode that answers some of your questions. Who knows?
We talking
We'll
like
see. This is the first time we've done this segment. What?
we talking like trivia here.
Yeah, you'll see. So, Samuel and Sean, an average person spends how much of their time queuing? Is it A, 20 days, B, 2 years, C, 52 days, or D, 10 years?
Give me a sec. I need to. What does queuing mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Queue, like a queue line?
Mm-hmm.
Waiting in line? Queuing. Like, how much time does the average person spend queuing? Is it A, 20 days, B, 2 years, C, 52 days, or D, 10 years?
52 days.
I was gonna give you guys an opportunity
Sorry.
to submit your answers,
Oh.
but it's okay. Sean says 52 days. What do you say, Samuel?
I say 20 days.
Okay. And hurry, put your answers in the polls right now on Spotify. And the answer is C, 52 days. The average person spends 52 days waiting in line. Sean gets the extra 10 points.
I'm sorry, Samuel.
Always.
Now,
It's okay.
it doesn't always have to be trivia, but I want there to be a point in the episode, in the middle of the episode.
Are we talking about in a
where-
whole lifetime? Like, that was such a strange
Yes.
question. First, I was thinking a year, but then you said 2 years, and I'm thinking, okay. But this is like not just hours, not just minutes. This is like all of your life, your average life, how much time you spend queuing. But I didn't want to say 2 years because that's so many days of it.
Yeah.
So 52.
No, it was 52 days.
That makes sense.
There's some people who spend more time, and there's some people who spend less time. The average is 52. All right, that was a fun prototype. We'll see how that goes in the future, but there we go. New segment of the show. Woohoo!
Ba-ba-da, we leveled up as a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So, going off that note, round 3 is waiting in line. Specifically, the thing that sets this apart differently, and I don't know if you guys are catching on to this, but not only are these all different scenarios, these are all different kinds of waiting. Round 1, waiting at the doctor's office, is you know when the appointment is, and you see it approaching, and you have to find the way to fill the time in. Round 2 was waiting for a reply. You don't know when that resolution is going to come, and you have to fill in the time from there. And round 3, waiting in line, you are seeing
see
it
the
progressing
progress
slowly
yeah.
and getting increasingly more impatient. So, Gamify waiting in line. And I'll give you guys 5 minutes. How's that? You guys said you want more
Thank
time.
you.
You made sure not to get too much of the coffee and not to drink it too fast, right, Samuel? Because I brewed it extra strong. All right, Samuel, you seem to be more ready. Let's hear it about waiting in line.
My game is called Assembly, and it takes place inside a factory. You, as you may have guessed, are a robot, because that's the theme I decided to go with tonight. However, you are not an entire robot. You are nothing but an idea.
What?
At the beginning of the game. So this whole
Oh.
game is a self-made man sort of game. You are on a conveyor belt, and you are being assembled on the conveyor belt. There is
Oh
a
my
beginning.
goodness.
There's a beginning, and there are different working pieces that are put on there, level by level. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 levels. The levels are called Nuts and Bolts, Wheels of Fortune, Asphalt and Batteries, Polishing Pain, and Final Product.
Hang on, I don't like how that sounded like assault and battery.
It's just asphalt and batteries. Now, here's the thing. As a robot, your name is Segment Droid. You are going to be bringing the
Sigmund
different
Freud?
Segment Droid.
Okay.
You are going to be putting these different segments of yourself together to create who you're going to be. Starting out, the materials you have in the first level are nuts and bolts. And you can arrange the nuts and bolts however you like to put yourself together. But whatever you start out with in this level, whatever you come out with in the first level with the nuts and bolts, is going to affect every other level going forward. For, as the great and slightly odd Sigmund Freud would postulate, every piece of your future and present has to do with your past. He believed that, every problem you deal with as an adult has to do with something having to do with your family, your parents, those sort of things. So as Segment Droid, everything that what you come up with in the nuts and bolts level of the assembly line is going to affect the rest of your assembly going forward. So when you get done with that, you have a thing that you like, you go on to the next level, which is Wheels of Fortune. This is where you've got lots of wheels to work with. You can use them to help different parts of your body move better. They can become your feet so you can move around. They can become how you pick things up, how you move things, how you control yourself. Really, this is the mobility part of the game. Wheels of Fortune. And that will affect your fortune, your life, you're going forward. And once you have what you like, you're ready to move on to the third level, Asphalt and Batteries. The asphalt sort of creates a glaze over you to kind of make you take form. It's sort of used as like tar, you can kind of be thinking. Because remember, you're a robot, it doesn't really matter. It's what you're kind of being built out of. And the batteries are what's going to make you really move. I mean, right now, you're just being manipulated, moved around on the assembly line. But when you become autonomous, you're going to need those batteries inside of you. So that's where you are at that level of the game, is figuring out your autonomy and your basic form. You have the bones, you have the pieces of what you are, but your form, how you stand out at the end. The nearing the end, the most crucial part before the boss level is polishing pain. I say pain because while polishing is the most important part, how good you look, how well you present yourself, this is where you're the most rushed because you're coming to the end of the assembly line. You see the light at the end. You are rushed to do the very most crucial, most good-looking part before presentation. The final level, final product is presentation. It is how you would advertise yourself as a robot, how you would advertise yourself as a human. You would present your autonomy, your goals, your drives, everything in that vein. But this is Assembly, the game about the self-made man, Segment Freud. Droid.
You
Sorry.
weren't able to make it. You weren't able
I
to
got
make
a
it to the fifth
few
round.
negative points on that because of going over time.
So I think I figured it out. The nuts and bolts is you packing to prepare for the waiting. Like, you need something to do when you're waiting. The second round was making sure you have comfortable shoes. Your situation is comfortable while you're waiting so that standing isn't painful and stuff like that. The third round, I didn't quite understand. So would you like to flesh out? And I'll still be able to hear you, but I need to go blow my nose. But I still have my headphones on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. asphalt
Just
and
try to
batteries.
translate it if you can.
It's very similar to polishing paint, but not quite there. It's sort of you taking. It's about autonomy, so it's about what you do yourself, waiting in line. So it's about the kinds of conversations you're going to strike up with the people around you, the kind of ways you're going to present yourself as a human being, because you're another head in the crowd, right? So you're going to have to be like, okay, this is how Sean is, this is how Shauna Min is, this is how Davis is, this is how all these different people in the group are. How is Puzzle going to be? How am I going to present myself? What kind of topics am I going to bring up as an individual? That's the whole asphalt batteries, the whole like, this is my autonomy, me as a person, as an
Okay.
individual, how I stand out.
That one was pretty good, Samuel.
Thank you.
That one was pretty good. You almost got full points on it. You did go overtime,
Yeah.
but you had a full.
Hey, every
idea.
battery
You
has a
wanted to-
plus and a minus.
Whoa! I really liked how you incorporated Sigmund Freud, and I just said that out of nowhere.
Thank you.
Well, he said segment droid, so
Yeah, segment droid, it was supposed to sound
That's
like
true.
that.
Oh, you were already figuring that out?
I wasn't entirely
Okay.
sure about
Yeah.
the meaning of it, so I started writing the stuff out, though.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That's ADHD for you, heckin' dudes. All right, Sean, 4 minutes starting
All right.
now.
This game is called Thrive because whenever you're in a line, you're thinking of something else. And that can be good, that can be okay, or that can be really bad. If you are going to a really stressful thing, that can be hard. If you're going to a nice thing, like a roller coaster, which can also be really stressful, then that can be nice. It depends on that situation. And you are going to need to prepare for the situation and for the line. Now, what this means is that you need to make sure if you're doing a political speech and there's 300 politicians in line for some reason, you have to have your speech ready, and you have to be ready for your mind to be practically assaulted by all of these things in line. And if it's a nice thing, you have to be, if it's a roller coaster, you have to be ready for the roller coaster. Don't eat a lot. Don't drink soda right before you go on it. And be prepared for such mental problems to come into your head as I don't want to be on this roller coaster and I need to get out of here. So the things you can do to prepare for such situations give you your points. Wait, no. These things which you can do to prepare for such situations increase the amounts of points you can get while you are in line. While you are in line is when you're going to get your points. It's like driving the range of points up. Once you are in line, you are going to be doing things, and you're going to be checking the time after each activity, and each activity can give you points. Such things as relaxing your mental state, as well as talking to people and observing the environment around you, or reading a book while you're in line, although make sure you're watching where you're walking. All of these things can give you points at different numbers, and check your patience every now and then, because you're not going to be content where you are. No matter what kind of line, you're either going to want to be out of the line or up at the front, and checking your patience and your contentment increases the point value of the activities you can do, because you're getting more out of those activities. And finally, You distract yourself. Because you want
How?
to get a... You read a book
Yes,
or
that is
talk
correct.
to people and observe things.
Good. I mean, if you're done, good job, because you finished 10 seconds before the time over, so you didn't get the penalty for going overtime.
I think I am done. This is Thrive. Perfect
Okay.
game.
Yeah, it's you can't state it being perfect to make it
No,
perfect.
no, I like
It's
he
not.
did. He did what I did at the very start, where I was like, no place like the waiting room, the perfect name for the perfect game.
Yeah.
I didn't even say it that good.
I think one thing that you kind of fell into, Sean, was mentioning all of the things that I said give you points, but not necessarily
Doing them.
doing anything about it. You mentioned focusing on the time passing. You mentioned physical distraction. You mentioned mental distraction. I gave you points for mental distraction because you talked about some things you can do. I gave you points for time passing because you're checking the time, making sure you aren't focused on how much time you have left, but you're focusing on where you are at in the moment. Give you points for the pre-level expedience, being prepared, making sure you didn't eat in front of the roller coaster, make sure you have your questions and information lined up for a speech, stuff like that. I didn't give any points on physical distraction because you didn't mention how your feet get tired, how you get sweaty, how you have to go to the bathroom, stuff like that.
Fidget spinners.
It's too late, Sean. Your time's up. No more points.
I'm sorry.
You did get the plus 10. Remember that.
Thank
you
goodness.
did get the plus 10 from the pop quiz. Samuel's distraught. Samuel's in distress. Samuel's about to murder someone. Samuel's about to cry.
His feet are tired and he needs to poop and he's crying.
His feet probably are tired. Okay, guys, are you ready for the final round?
Yeah.
So, as a brief summary, you have gamified a situation where you're waiting and you know when the appointment is. You know when the resolution is. You've gamified a situation.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was the doctor's office.
That was the first one.
So, you've gamified waiting when you know when the resolution comes, when the appointment is. You've gamified when you don't know when the resolution is, knowing that there will be one, but you don't know when that reply will come. You've gamified waiting when you see slight progress and it keeps getting closer, but you get more impatient. Round 4, waiting for a miracle. You don't know if there will be a resolution. You don't know if there will be an answer, but you're still waiting for it. Sean, don't cry. Be a man! Grow up! You can do it! You don't need a miracle to be a good person! Waiting for a miracle. You don't know if there will be an answer. You don't know if there will be a resolution. But you still can't help but wait. So, gamify waiting for a miracle. And I'll give you 6 minutes for this one. Are you guys ready?
All right. This game is called Easter Eggs. And it is about a farmer robot named Aija. Aija is an optimistic and hopeful farming robot who works on a chicken farm. He's got to grow tomatoes. He's got to grow vegetables. It is a very arid farm, meaning there is no grass of any kind. The soil is dry. It's practically sandstone that he's working in. Anyway, he is a frequent praying robot, meaning he submits problems up to the cloud and waits for answers. Other robots come by. They like to do trading with him. They laugh at him a lot, but they still do trading with him.
Is this Job?
No, it's Aija. And so anyway, he keeps saying his requests up to the cloud. Anyway, the cloud sends those requests on. You don't know what directions they go. They can go to the waiting room. They can go to the factory in which he was built. But the outcomes, he doesn't know when, he just does his work. He waits patiently. That by the end of the game, in some way, water is going to appear and start taking care of everything. The grass is going to grow and a whole bunch of people are going to come. It's going to be the end of the game. But in the meantime, he's got to do everything he can before he gets in the red to keep things maintained on the farm and keep sending up those requests so that little aids come in. Now, the aids that come in, some of them, sometimes it'll come from the factory and he'll get new nuts and bolts that'll change something that he thought was determined in the beginning, the nuts and the bolts, for his chickens. They'll start producing eggs. To the tomato garden, he'll suddenly have seeds that he didn't have before. To him, he'll suddenly have strength that he didn't have before. He'll suddenly have features about himself that he didn't have before, and skills that he can do that he didn't think were determined in the beginning. From the waiting room, somebody that he met that he wasn't going to see again, it was just a one-time encounter, suddenly shows up to help him. Or the robot receptionist comes to him and says something about his appointment that he didn't know, like, oh, it turns out your eyes actually do work, and then suddenly he can see, or something like that. But these come from the cloud where he's sending his request to. He doesn't really know in what way the answer is going to come. By the end of the game, though, he gets his sprinkler system working, and it starts watering the gardens. Sometimes what happens is he gets a hose turned on. He starts watering the gardens, and 3 out of 10 times, the cloud itself will come over the Rain Man and just start raining down, and everything will start growing. But at the end of the game, there's water, and people come in, and everything's taken care of. But Easter eggs. He's taking care of his egg farm, and little surprises come up here and there as he's patiently waiting and working.
Sean.
My game is Begin. This is a very long-ranging, story-centric survival game. Because if you're waiting for a miracle, there's probably something wrong in your life. How this starts out is you wake up and you're in this snowy wilderness. You don't know exactly where you are or what's going on, but you know you're waiting on something, and you remember your life, and you have to be prepared for either your request to be answered or a different path to show up. What happens, because this is a survival game, so you have to do the physical, but you also have to do the mental, because a lot of the battle is up here. And for the mental, what happens throughout the entire game is grieving. This doesn't necessarily mean you're grieving a death or a loss, but there's some conflict if you're waiting for a miracle, and you have to grapple with that because it's going to be a problem in your life. And grieving in this game comes and goes in waves. It's kind of like driving in a car. You're going somewhere and you can't just do the same with the pedals all the time. There's going to be hills, and there's going to be curves, and there's going to be speed limits, and there's going to be a lot of stuff, and so the intensity of your grief, so-called, varies, and that happens throughout the entire game. And being aware of this during your survival situation, it's going to be like, okay, I shouldn't engage with that fight right now because at this time I'm focusing a lot on grieving, and grieving happens without your input. It just comes and goes like an obstacle. And the focus of this game is to begin from that place you are, where you're not content and there's something wrong in your life. You are going to begin whether the miracle comes or not. And so your job is to prepare for it to not come, so that if it doesn't, you still have a good life. So in this game, it can be building a cabin and inviting a bunch of people that you find out in the wilderness to live with you in a town, starting anew in a way, or it can be exploring and finding an already established community, finding ways to fulfill yourself and things you enjoy and stuff that gives you purpose. And you also have to do self-care within this game. Mentally, it's partly dealing with grief, because that's always going to be a blanket thing. But you also have to deal with temporary stresses and excitement and stuff, and you can't let your emotions undercut you. You can experience them. That's fine. That's encouraged, but you can't let them take over you, or they're gonna undercut you. And physically, your daily self-care is the same as it has been: eating, resting, making sure your body is well taken care of, because the mind and the body are interconnected on a deep level. Begin. Survive until you thrive.
Okay. Those are both good all around. Probably your strongest ones.
It's hard to say. I really liked two
Actually,
of
you're
my...
right.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Well, looking at the points, round 3 was both of your guys' strongest ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the waiting in line. I think both of you had some pretty solid stuff on those. This one, I admit this one was pretty big in scope to try to...
Yeah, we had to really
figure
come
out.
up with a way to make something out of that, to pull an abstract idea to something tangible.
I was extremely proud when I
not that bad.
thought of a survival game, because I was going nowhere, and then I was like, wait, survival games are like this in a way.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna spend some time getting points together. And we will be back in 1 second.
Samuel, your games seem very poetic to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm stuck with.
Yeah.
Elijah.
I like them.
Thank you.
They're good and they're insightful. But it's really interesting, because I'm over here thinking in terms of a little bit more of reality, and then it's like, now there's robots and Easter eggs and farmers and assembly lines, and I have to be like, wait, yeah, this is Samuel's game, so I have to adjust. I have to use an adapter to my mind.
Yeah. To understand.
To like, figure out what you're trying to get at, because that's kind of what poetry does. Poetry and song.
Yeah.
Okay, we just got our results back from the lab. I'm just hearing word. Yes, we have final points tallied up. So, for round 1, the doctor's office, Samuel got 12 points and Sean got 13 points. Round of applause.
Whoa, that was close.
Stop the applause.
That was close.
Round 2, Samuel got
Wow.
17 points and Sean got 12 points. Round of applause.
Wait
Stop
a
the
second.
applause.
What
Round
was
Cloud,
that
three.
the
one?
cloud one.
Waiting for a reply.
Yeah, waiting for a reply
Oh.
from God or from
Round
the boss.
3,
Okay.
waiting in line. Samuel got 19 points, Sean got 23. Round of
Whoa.
applause. Stop the
Wait.
applause. Round
What?
4,
Oh, okay.
Samuel got 17 points, Sean got 23 points. Round of applause. Stop the applause. And Sean got an additional 10 points in the bonus round. The total points are Samuel at 65 points and Sean at 81. So
Congratulations,
Sean
Sean.
is this week's winner.
Justice
Sean's
for
better.
Samuel.
Sean is better at waiting, and Samuel needs some more improvement, I guess.
Actually, I do feel that way. I feel
Oh, yeah?
very much
Honestly-
that way.
Honestly, I really feel like I threw you guys a bunch of curveballs with this one. First of all, having rushed rounds. Second of all,
Oh.
having each round be something completely different.
I really think we should have called
Because
this
in
a
the
lightning
past-
round, because this was a lot like the food one.
The
Because we had
produce
several levels on this one.
You guys did really well, and I think that we covered a lot that is to be covered with the topic of waiting.
Yeah.
I will apply mine.
I hope you guys felt like I gave enough scenarios and I'm kind of proud of them having those different aspects of waiting. I'm glad that I was able to incorporate that, which each of them not only being a different scenario, but them also being a different flavor of waiting.
You know, I think I am also kind of learning a little bit about how we think about waiting, because there's things that seem to be common throughout all of the games.
Yeah.
Like self-care is a big one. In all of our
Being
games
present.
tonight. Yeah, being present, doing self-care, and being aware and struggle are all
And
big parts of waiting.
3-level expedients.
Yeah, that's
I kind of alluded to that with my Sigmund Freud saying, every piece has to do with your past.
I hope that this episode has been some help to you, the listeners and viewers of this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Do keep in mind that we aren't qualified to give actual advice. We aren't certified for any reason. But this is to get the ideas running. This is to give you
Remember
something to
that
build off of.
The advice is worth what you paid for it.
And you did not pay any fee.
Free. Please spread the word of the podcast around. Spotify just now changed its monetary system, and we have to get 1,000 monthly viewers instead of 100. We were very close, and then they changed it.
Oh my goodness.
Keep sharing this podcast around. Make sure to interact with it, because interactions boost it in the algorithm. Make sure to do the polls, the Q&As, everything. Really helps a lot. Share it with people. Listen to it in the car and make people ask, hey, what are you listening to? I want to have this apply to my life because this is good advice.
Hey, and the moment the
And-
t-shirts come out, wear them so that people ask, what in the heck is up and ready? What is look around you?
Apply what you want to apply in your life. Make sure to come back to this podcast. Follow us all on our social medias. We often post videos of this podcast on them, except for Sean. Follow Samuel at Moser Meadows Records pretty much everywhere except on Instagram. He's Samuel Claus Tuner. Follow Sean at 10 Tiny Potatoes or a variation of that. And follow me, Puzzle MTM, everywhere. And as we always say at the end of these episodes,
Game over.